It's only been a week since Ubisoft put out the first trailer for the next iteration of the Assassin's Creed franchise, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and it has been a complete and total catastrophe for them. Despite nearly everyone in the mainstream games media trying to run cover for them, it has not helped them with the fan base, and that fan base is not happy. Because for the past several years, fans have been begging Ubisoft to make an Assassin's Creed set in Japan. Well, they finally did it, but the rumors were true. The main male protagonist is a black man. And we've gone over all of the backlash surrounding Yasuke, the changing of history, people trying to lie about who this person actually was. And like I said, the game's journalists have been doing desperate damage control, especially places like IGN. Let's not pretend we're mad the new Assassin's Creed Shadow Samurai isn't Asian. Who is Assassin's Creed Shadows protagonist? Yasuke, the history behind the first Black Samurai. And of course, we've shifted from, this actual historical figure that did exist, Yasuke. If you don't believe he was actually a samurai, even though there's no evidence of it, we edited Wikipedia, we edited Britannica, we edited all these things to try to convince everybody of this gaslighting bullshit lie.
Hello, fam. I'm thinking about making a series called Who's the Real DEI Hires? How did that sound? Because a lot of white people love to complain about diversity in movies and in TV shows. They cry about the historical inaccuracy and ruining the classic stories. But what's really interesting about all of this is that they only seem to care about it when it's people of color, most notably when it's black people involved. Let's take, for example, the 2018 TV series Troy. A lot of white men were outraged that Achilles was played by a black actor. They claimed it was historically inaccurate and that it ruined the story, being too stupid to realize that the Troy story wasn't historical and mostly poems written by Homer. Newsflash, there was no Achilles, his mother wasn't a goddess, and there was no Hector. Sorry to break it to you. I guess this is why these mostly white conservative males firmly rail against and oppose education.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
But here's the thing. Throughout history, white actors have consistently played non-white roles. And you know what? Nobody complained. In fact, some of these performances were even celebrated. Let's talk about John Wayne, the so-called tough guy actor. He played Genghis Khan in the 1956 film The Conqueror. Yeah, you heard that right. Marion. Sweet name, Marion. Marion John Wayne. He was a white American actor who played a Mongol Emperor Genghis Khan. No one complained. And what about Laurence Olivier, the white British actor? He played Othello, right? A Moorish general in the 1965 film adaptation of Shakespeare's play. And guess what? He wore blackface to play the role. Nobody complained, and there was no fake outrage. These performances were not only accepted, but also praised by critics and audiences alike. So where was the outrage? Where were the complaints about historical accuracy? The role. Nobody complained, and there was no fake outrage. These performances were not only accepted, but also praised by critics and audiences alike. So where was the outrage? Where were the complaints about historical accuracy? I'm a fan of Johnny Depp, but let's keep it real. He played Tonto, a Native American Indian, in the 2013 film The Lone Ranger, which, by the way, was a big bomb. And you know what? The same white incels who complained about diversity didn't say a peep about Johnny Depp's casting. And they didn't care about Johnny Depp playing a Native American character in a film perpetuating stereotypes and cultural appropriation. But of course, they didn't care about the cultural appropriation when it came to Elvis Presley either, in regards to him being so great, so fantastic, and creating something that black people really did. Anyway, but when a black actor plays a role or doing something in media, film, art, suddenly it's a problem. Suddenly it's historically inaccurate and ruining the story. It's clear that the only time that some white people care about historical accuracy is when people of color, particularly black people, are involved. It's a double standard, plain and simple. You might remember the backlash against the new Little Mermaid movie starring Halle Bailey as Ariel. Well, unfortunately, so-called strong white alpha males were upset that a black woman was playing the role, claiming that it was ruining the classic Disney story.
So I just saw the Little Mermaid 2023 version, and it was dumb and bad. It's a pointless cash grab remake that doesn't justify its own existence, and it's one of the worst movies of the year, and yet it's still one of the better Disney live-action remakes. The bar is that low. Despite being better than The Lion King 2019 and Aladdin 2019, this film is not free from the senseless, familiar tropes that we're used to in these shitty live-action remakes. Once again, this film was made by people who don't even seem to understand what worked so well about the original film.
But let's keep it real. The only thing that was being ruined was the expectation of a predominantly white leading cast. Halle Bailey's casting was a celebration of diversity and representation, to be honest. But these weak white men, some of them with grays in their beards, got all into their feelings over a female animated character that's largely marketed to girls. Let that sink in. And then there was the Black Panther movie. Oh boy, did those emotional incels lose their minds over that movie, hoping that it would bomb, but too bad, they didn't get their wish. It was a great success.
Oh fuck, let's get this over with. Black Panther opens with a neat animation explaining the history of Wakanda, the country that Black Panther protects. Apparently a meteor hit the continent of Africa, and said meteor was made entirely from vibranium. This pushed the people of Wakanda into the future far faster than any nation across the globe. One tribe took over another 4, and they essentially blocked themselves from the world as an isolated nation. Why the fuck would they stop at the arbitrary border of Wakanda back in the bloody Stone Age if they were advancing immeasurably faster than any other nation across the world? How didn't they just naturally spill over Africa as a continent and potentially the world by nature of the tools they had? Early humans expanded excessively, and the Wakandans are already established as a people who are willing to dominate neighboring tribes. Are you telling me they stopped after they took fucking 4? Seriously? And no one managed to get the word out about Wakanda's resources across its entire history except Gollum? Are you telling me that across the vast history of Wakanda, no one on Earth found them before they got their cloaking device up, while they simultaneously had nobody leave and share the location of Wakanda? How the fuck are they a secret to the surrounding areas? Or hell, how are they a secret to the Earth-viewed Wakanda that is sitting right next to them in extreme poverty? Do they actually care about the people starving at their doorstep? Do they at least bribe those guys to stay silent? Like, you probably think I'm crazy right now. Watch the opening again. Before they travel through the secret entrance to Wakanda, the ship that Black Panther and his crew are in flies right past regular Wakandans, and some fuck is waving to them. These people are not only aware that there is a secret advanced society, but T'Challa doesn't seem to give a shit about other people spotting them. How could this possibly stay a secret? Are you telling me that all these people just work for the secret Wakanda and that no secrets slip out? How do relief workers not find out about this if the third world Wakandans know about it? What? Oh, okay. We just need to let the Foundation go and enjoy the movie, right? Let's enjoy the movie. We open up in the 1970s with 2 characters that have a plan to share weaponry to communities surrounding the area with Wakandan technology because of the struggle that persists.
The Black Panther movie is a piece of shit. I haven't actually seen it, but we now apparently live in a world where the quality of a movie is determined before it's even released, solely on the basis of how woke it is. So it doesn't even matter whether I've seen it or not.
If you give Black Panther a bad review, you're racist! I don't care! I don't care! I don't care!
The very fact that you're ordering me to like it or be called racist, the very fact that you're so fragile, you're talking about censoring bad movie reviews as hate speech to artificially keep the ranking high, means I'm gonna say it's a piece of shit. You know why? Because I don't like being told what to think.
The idea of a technologically advanced black civilization was simply just too much for these sensitive, weak-minded white men to handle. I mean, think about it. Wakanda is a country that had never been colonized, never been enslaved. It's a nation that is proud of its heritage and its culture. And that's what scares these people. They can't handle the idea of a black nation that's powerful, independent, and self-sufficient. So they have to resort to the concept of realism when they never rely on realism when it comes to Thor, Superman, Spider-Man, or any of the other hundreds of white superhero characters. Is Star Wars real? The Jedi, the Sith, Holocrons, Wookiees, the Galactic Empire? Look how these fragile white incels deal with the Reva character in the Kenobi series.
It's obvious that from the very beginning, Lucasfilm knew that fans would have a problem with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, that there would be significant backlash to this. Some of it centered around the character of Reva, and for good reason. Her motivations make absolutely no sense. She doesn't fit in this story, at least not the way that it was told. She knows way too much and is left alive knowing way too much. The fact that she is still alive in this universe is laughable and it makes no sense, but we know why Disney did it. Disney did it for the potential to have a spin-off with Reva. Now we can have a Reva spin-off series because people are just going to love her so much. We saw them come out and gaslight the media, gaslight the fan base and say, if you have a problem with the character of Reva, it must just be because you're a racist. The same old tactics from Disney Star Wars. And once again, we have to remind so many people that Disney is forsaking their fan base. They're saying, we don't want you old fans. We don't want you people who care about the original trilogy. We don't want you anymore. We don't want you here. We want a new fan base. The one that has pronouns in their bios and stands for characters on Twitter. Those people don't have any money to spend. And if this isn't obvious, I don't know what is. I guarantee you can find a lot of different Stan accounts. You can find a lot of different Reva fan cams and people saying, Moses Ingram as Reva changed my life in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. But these people don't spend money. They are not real. They are flash in the pan. I think this is a cool thing, so I'm going to hop on board a trending hashtag and I'm going to show how cool I am. In reality, they don't stick around. They move on and consume next product. And they don't spend money. They don't care about Star Wars.
Fancy that, so emotional. But when it comes to Black Panther, it's not just the movie itself, it's about what it represents. Black Panther represents a challenge to the status quo, a challenge to the idea that white people are the default position for heroism, greatness, intellect, and power. And that's what's so threatening to these people. They're not used to seeing themselves as a minority. They're not used to seeing Black people as heroes. But Black people, we're not going anywhere, and we're not going to apologize for that. We're not going to apologize for celebrating our gifts, our beauty, our culture, or our heritage. For decades, Black Americans have been forced to look up to white leading roles and superheroes without questioning it. We've been conditioned to accept that the default hero is the white person and that it's just the way it was. And what's interesting is, in this particular timeline, and it's strange for a lot of people, is that when the tables are turned, just slightly turned, and we get a Black lead or a diverse cast member, some of these white people lose their damn minds. They get emotional. They complain about woke. They whine, they cry, and they boycott. Meanwhile, Black people have been embracing white characters for years without issue. I mean, for example, 3 of my favorite characters are Superman, Captain America, and Commander Shepard from the Mass Effect trilogy, all white men. But I never got emotional or felt threatened by their whiteness. I just enjoyed the characters and the stories, and that's the difference. I'm not needy and emotionally weak. These white men are threatened by Blackness, particularly Blackness with a positive light. For most Black people, it's not about being weak, emotional, or woke for embracing diverse characters. It's about being open-minded, empathetic, and willing to see yourself in someone else's shoes, something that's extremely difficult for the garden variety white supremacists. Here's another example. I'm a Gen Xer, so growing up as a kid, J.R. Ewing was one of my favorite bad guys. And as a kid, I had a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox and didn't get emotional. But yet, these grown white men are clamoring and looking for any opportunity to trash a piece of art or media with solid Black representation, even if that project is a success. On that note, fam, I'm going to wrap this up and... Alright, I'm going to go there. I'm going to take it there. Let's take the example of Captain America. First of all, I really like the Chris Evans version. When Chris Evans was cast as Steve Rogers, nobody complained about him being a DEI hire. But when Sam Wilson, a Black character, became the new Captain America, white men lost their damn minds, despite the new Captain America exceeding the overall success of the first Avenger. But here's the thing. Steve Rogers, the original Captain America, didn't become a superhero because of his own merits. He was given the super serum that enhanced his physical abilities. That's not something he earned or worked for. It was just something that was handed to him. But none of these white men called him a DEI hire. He basically got affirmative action. Don't believe the words from me? A black man? Then maybe you accept the words from a white man who also wore blackface in a movie.
You know, you may not be a threat, but you better stop pretending to be a hero.
A hero? Like you? You're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle.
Meanwhile, Sam Wilson, the new Black Captain America, earned his abilities through hard work and dedication. He's a skilled martial artist and strategist who proved himself as a valuable member of the Avengers. I know what you white supremacists and coons will say.
Well, Steve Rogers was brave and selfless. That's why Dr. Erskine gave him the super serum.
And I agree. He was brave and selfless, and that's what makes him such a great character. But Sam Wilson was not only brave and selfless, but he rejected the idea of taking the super serum, fully relying on his own talents and limited tech. Sam Wilson didn't need affirmative action to become great or skip ahead of the line. He was already great, as Steve Rogers didn't qualify for the elite program or even the military for that matter. Even falsifying paperwork because he failed multiple times to get to square one.
Wait here.
Is there a problem?
Just wait here.
Thank you. So, you want to go overseas? Kill some Nazis.
Excuse me?
Dr. Abraham Erskine. I represent the Strategic Scientific Reserve.
Steve Rogers.
Where are you from, Mr. Rogers? Is it New Haven? Or Paramos? 5 exams in 5 different cities.
That might not be the right file.
No, it's not the exams I'm interested in. It's the 5 tries. Well, there are already so many big men fighting this war. Maybe what we need now is a little guy, huh? I can offer you a chance. Only a chance.
I'll take it.
Good. So where is the little guy from, actually?
Brooklyn.
Congratulations, soldier.
So who's the real DEI hire here? Is it Sam Wilson, a man who earned his place as Captain America through merit, as Steve Rogers himself handpicked him to succeed him as the new Captain America? Or is it Steve Rogers, who was merely given a super serum that gave him an unfair advantage over his adversaries? Again, I like Steve Rogers. He's one of my favorite characters, but this isn't about comic books or movies. This is about the real-world implications of systematic privilege and bias. When we talk about DEI initiatives, we're not talking about handing out free passes or quotas. We're talking about allowing people with natural skill set and people who are qualified to have a true opportunity. We're talking about creating a level playing field where everyone has an equal chance to succeed. So to all you soft white males out there who are still whining about diversity and representation, let me tell you, we're not going anywhere. We're going to keep celebrating our diversity, our culture, our heroes, and yes, our new heroes. So get ready, because it's going to be a bumpy ride for you.
My friends, today we'll take a look at the madness going on in Hollywood.
I don't care what they tell you in school, but Hannibal was black.
I mean, this is what Hollywood actively wants you to believe about one of history's greatest military commanders. His tactics are still studied today. Check out this article from IGN. Denzel Washington to play Hannibal in Netflix new historical epic.
You serious?
To be honest, I thought Netflix was done with historical epics after the Bridgerton. I mean, Denzel Washington to play Hannibal and historical epic are two different statements. And why did Denzel Washington even agree to portray Hannibal? Bro, you're 68! Hannibal Barca was 29 when he crossed the Alps to bring the battle to Rome. Sadly, Hannibal is just the latest historical figure that has been blacked.
Things are different. You think times are different. You think I wouldn't be dead in a day if you brought me out. You want to believe jail was my fault because you got that white man's shield. Pledge allegiance to that, my brother. They will never let a black man be Captain America. And even if they did, no self-respecting black man would ever want to be.